4 months ago, it was announced that the Man in the Suit series was canceled by its creator, Unknowingly. If you don't know what was going on, I already made a video all about this, and you can check it out on the channel. It's one of my most popular videos, so if you're watching this, I'm assuming that you've already seen that video. Regardless, here's the cliff notes. Series creator Unknowingly was being harassed by a group of Godzilla fans who hated the series Man in the Suit. Why? Well, the general premise of the series itself was that the Godzilla suit actor had gone crazy and basically became engulfed and became one with the suit and was going around killing people, and it sort of went movie by movie, if that makes sense. Like the first one's about the first Godzilla movie, the next one's about Godzilla Raids Again, and so on. Certain Godzilla fans found it to be rather insensitive towards the suit actors, especially Haru Nakajima, and in general they just found it to be sort of weird with the approach that the series took, which to me is valid. You know, if you have an issue with that, that's fine. Personally, the issue that I had with the series was more of the presentation. I just found the presentation to be a bit boring early on, but it was showing signs of improvement. I think you can critique something or criticize it or, give your thoughts on something without being negative, without being, outright bullying or harassing the person that made it, especially considering that Unknowingly is a minor. I believe when they first started this series, they were about 14 or 15. I think they're 16 or 17 now. I don't really know the specifics of their age. All I know is they're a minor. They're very young to be telling a story like this, and it's very impressive nonetheless. Now, on top of that, there were also some bizarre accusations that were levied against Unknowingly. Again, I went over all this in my video, but for the most part, those accusations are complete horseshit. I went through all of them and talked about why a lot of it made absolutely no sense with no evidence whatsoever.
Evidence has yet to materialize for some of these claims, but rest assured they're all factual. No! I'm not gonna just say, yeah, they had it in this document and it looks official, so I'm just gonna believe it. I'm sorry. What? Evidence is yet to materialize for some of these claims. What?
In general, Unknowingly was the victim of toxic fandom behavior. That is just how it went. But I am very happy to announce that the series is back. Kind of. You see, Unknowingly had basically canceled the Man in the Suit and then went, I'm going to make a new series for Murder Drones, which is a series that I'm not too familiar with. I know it is based on a pre-existing sort of thing, like how Man in the Suit is based on Godzilla. And for a while, that's just sort of how it was. It just, Unknowingly was doing his own thing. The Godzilla fandom was off doing their own thing. And that was it. Man in the Suit had ended. It ended on sort of a cliffhanger, since every episode kind of leaned into the next one. There were a few people that were trying to continue the series where it was like a Filthy Frank situation where, that show ended and then people tried to be like, I'm the next Man in the Suit or the next Filthy Frank, for my analogy's sake. And it just never really caught on though. Like there were a few copycats, but none really were Unknowingly, if that makes sense. So a couple days ago, Unknowingly posted a brand new video titled SUITBORN official trailer. And when I saw this, I went, oh my god, he's bringing the series back. Kinda, sorta. Before we get into the video itself, let's talk first about the description. It says, in this Roblox game based on the Man in the Suit and other Godzilla horror media, you survive a night shift in a rundown movie studio with a dark secret behind it. Discover what was left buried and why it was buried in the first place. Game is in alpha, bugs may be present. Now, right off the bat, when I saw the trailer, I thought like, oh, this is just a FNAF copy. Like, it even kind of looks like that with the different security cameras and the fact that you're a night guard at a night shift at an abandoned place with a bunch of things roaming around. I was kind of like, all right, neat, but it's still stuff that we've kind of seen before. So I was sort of like, good for him. It was also Roblox, which is, a game engine that I'm not really familiar with myself. I think the last time I played Roblox was maybe like 2010. Like literal like Unk status type stuff, I swear, but like I haven't played Roblox in years because I'm a 22-year-old man. I have no reason to be doing that. But later on in the trailer, you see that there's more to it than just looking at security cameras and trying to not get jump scared by the spooky Godzilla. There are actual like elements where you are roaming around. It's kind of like a survival horror project, which is intriguing to say the least. You could tell it's really leaning into that, analog horror, liminal space, and then like Godzilla sort of combination, which just gets all the kiddies riled up here on YouTube. It's nuts. It's like the perfect combo. Now, here's sort of where the speculation started. Is this a spiritual successor to Man in the Suit, or is this unknowingly continuing the story in a brand new format? And there's really like 3 directions I think that you could take with this concept. The first one is that the analog horror series on YouTube will continue, but it will continue alongside the game, with it being sort of like tie-in material, if that makes sense. And this could work. Again, this is just speculation. I'm not too sure what Unknowingly is going to do or what Unknowingly is trying to do. But if you continue the series and have a lot of it tie into the game, that would be great cross-promotion. That's me thinking just purely like business mindset, like marketing. That's a great way to do it. On top of that too, you'd be bringing back the series, and we'll talk a little bit about that specific concept more. The other theory that I have is that SUITBORN is it sounds like I'm saying SUITBORN, but it's SUITBORN. SUITBORN is the continuation of Man in the Suit, but in video game form, in the video game medium. And to me, this could be interesting because I think that Unknowingly is very set on like finishing that murder drones thing that he's working on. And he has other ideas too, like War of the Worlds and whatnot. So I could see him being like, look, we'll finish the story since it was left on a cliffhanger with this specific game. And then that's it. Moves on forever, doesn't really address it. The third idea is that this is just a one-off experiment. It's a one-off game, but the positive feedback behind it might very well revive and push for a full revival of the series. And let's be honest here, the feedback has been very positive. Just taking a look at the YouTube comment section, it is nothing but positive comments. Overwhelmingly positive. A lot of the energy that you see there is welcome back, please come back, this is amazing, it's very positive, very uplifting, and very encouraging towards Unknowingly. It's a big shift from how the Godzilla fandom had previously treated him. There's even some that are like expressing regret for not supporting him earlier. I'm going to read a few comments now. So here's one that says, what makes me happy right now is knowing that the Godzilla fans being in quotes, that tried their hardest to get rid of this series and were proud of what they did are seething and coping right now. Here's another one. To all the Godzilla fans that went out of their way to make this guy's life a living hell, sucks to suck, doesn't it? Lamau. The Man in the Suit lives. Glad you didn't let the bottom feeders of this community ruin it for you. You're making a pretty solid series here, and don't let the weirdos get to you. If y'all don't like the series, that's fine. Just don't watch it and let the creator enjoy his work. So now this is where we get kind of like introspective a bit. Maybe not introspective for me since I was kind of divorced from this whole fan harassment stuff, and all I really did was just report on it, but it makes me wonder how much of this love from fans can repair the damage that was done to Unknowingly, and specifically Unknowingly's mental health, because if you go on his Twitter, you could very clearly see that it was weighing on him and that a lot of this was just so difficult for him to get through, given that it was just constant harassment almost 24/7. Personally, I think the only one that can make that, distinction of whether or not it's acceptable is Unknowingly. And for the most part, they have been rather silent on it, which I think is the best move. I think constantly posting about your mental health publicly is not a good move in general. Like, it's cool to be aware of your mental health, but I think that, constantly vent posting is not going to help you in any way. It's only going to add fuel to the fire. And thankfully here, it looks like he's been kind of laying off on that, because that was a big part. Again, check out the full video where I talk about it. This is kind of a sequel. Looking towards the future too, it is interesting seeing how he's using video games as a new medium. I mean, think about Roblox, for example. Like, again, I said this in a bit of a, disregarding kind of way. But, when I was a kid, Roblox was just a dumb game to play with your friends after school, especially if you couldn't afford Minecraft. And now it's like there's this huge indie horror boom that's happening over there. It is crazy how it's now like a legitimate way to make games and distribute them to people. It's blowing my mind every time I hear about it. I still write it off because it's like I'm a grown man, but it's pretty cool seeing what's going on over there. And I think that in general, the Godzilla fandom should try and embrace that sort of, like that innovation, that hunger for innovation, but without punishing it. Anytime someone does something new or pushes the boundaries of what Godzilla is, you're going to get the purists that are upset about it and that don't want it, even if it's a fan project. Again, fan projects are something where you can just ignore it completely if you don't really like it, and it's not like official, you know, it doesn't affect like, oh, continuity or anything. It's just a fan project. Personally, I'm excited to see where this series goes next. I'm excited to see how the game functions, how it plays. Again, I have no clue how to even use Roblox because I'm Unk. It looks neat. You know, I'm very excited for Unknowingly for being a part of this. I think that people should support indie horror creators, especially ones like Unknowingly. And, you know, I just think that it's cool that this series will continue to a degree, even if this isn't really a full continuation. We don't really know yet. But, yeah, pretty neat. Really quick, I just want to announce that I will be attending G-Fest in Rosemont, Illinois on Sunday, July 13th. If you're planning to go, feel free to say hi. This will be my second time at G-Fest as a creator, and I'll be walking around most of the day checking out the panels and vendor booths. If you see me, don't be afraid to come up and say hi. Hope to see you there. And with all of that out of the way, I'm Cole McCormick. You're watching Firewood Media. Massive thank you to our channel members. Their names are listed right here on this side of the screen. Thank you guys so much. Here, I don't know if they're going to show up right now or maybe later on. I'm going to have some related videos that you should check out for sure. The Man in the Suit video will be right here, and then a playlist of my Godzilla retrospectives. Speaking of, a lot of you have been asking, when is the Return of Godzilla retrospective coming out, given that, you know, that is the next one in line. And I'm hoping to have it out by September. I'm taking a lot of time to write these and to really make them perfect. I'm also working on Gamera and Superman retrospectives, so I'm hoping to have all those done by like July and August, you know, like just get them done so that I can focus all in on Godzilla in September, go from there. The Hanna-Barbera video is already written. I just have to film it and then get it to my editor, and then we'll be all set. So yeah, that about wraps everything up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.